And having more time isn't a bad thing if that's going to create peace and resolution and avoid litigation forever.
Right.
And whether that means you get an extra less $100 for child support,
right?
If that's going to create it's going to be better, then do it. And that moms, you're not going to just guarantee to get sole custody anymore. This doesn't happen just automatically that you can just get it. Like you've been gone for. I mean, women, they've been gone for 4 years and think come back and they're going to suddenly, because it's Utah, I'm getting custody. That's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
But
so it's probably more of a stigma that it is more biased than it actually is. Even if there are some biases because you can't avoid them. But I mean, I certainly think, like you say, there's going to be biases within people just because you can't avoid some sort of bias because you're a person and you got your experiences. But at the same time, the courts do try to make things as fair as they can, or they want to say, you guys need to solve this. We shouldn't be babysitting you full-grown adults.
Well, I mean, I think there are some things that are just based on biology.
Sure.
That if you're dealing with a young child,
sure,
and the child's breastfeeding, the child's going to mom.
Right.
Because they're not going to force a mom simply to pump.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not. The child's breastfeeding,
right.
The child needs food, you can't do it.
So at least for a certain amount of time, that's just got to,
that's
the way
this
it's
reality.
Be. Yeah.
And they're not going to simply say, oh, mom's, forced to pump to give you milk, or you're going to give the child half formula.
Right.
That's not in the child's best interest. You have to recognize that,
right.
that those...
But don't get mad just because that's not a biological bias. That's not a bias that the court imposes unjustly. That's a bias that it's like, hey, that's, you're not equipped as the vending machine for the baby. Could you go take estrogen and be, apparently people have said, but that would be super weird. Right.
That's just, when you deal with a minor child, those are the challenges that many courts are going to do.
Sure.
Now, if the child's not being breastfed, and you've always bottled this child from the infant,
that's a biological advantage against the other person.
The child, the facts aren't there. But again, these courts, these judges aren't in your home.
Sure.
These custody evaluators aren't in your home maybe once.
Yeah.
They come in for a couple hours. Now, I've had a custody evaluator say the only way to truly know who's in the best interest, who's the best parent, is to have cameras on them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for years.
Right.
And that's never going to happen unless you have your own reality show.
Right.
And no one's going to watch it because no one cares.
Right. Yeah, well, I hope we can make another video. I mean, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I think we've covered some things that maybe, hopefully, it'll shed some light to some people, or, at least make somebody look at something from a different perspective. I mean, I know that, sometimes when you're in a divorce and you just want some sort of justice, like you say, so bad, you do have to just sit down and say, sometimes you have to just say, look, I might win this battle, but is it going to help me win the war? Is it going to help me is it actually going to be better just to get my cut back in, or my dig, or hey, you did this to me and I got you back. Yeah, now let's go try to take care of our kid. No.
Clarification. Sometimes there's truly some need.
Somebody needs to be held accountable. Sure.
That, or the justice needed is, hey, a parent is really dangerous. They've committed abuse. Sure. They deny it, so they need to be some testing as to whether or not this child is at harm.
Like mom puts cigarettes out on my forehead when I'm over at mom's, or dad smacks me with a...
No, that's a reality. We have to really delve in. Sure. Now, if a parent is a danger to the child, then we have to keep, the peaceful thing is keeping that child safe.
From harm, sure.
Now, those happen. We're dealing with some cases there's a violence.
Sure.
Now, sometimes violence gets accused when really there's not.
Right.
And that's a problem where, unfortunately, making accusation of abuse and getting some type of protective order when there wasn't is a bad system.
Oh, very bad.
But that's a challenge. Many clients come in and says, I didn't do anything. Right. The reality is maybe something happened.
Yeah, right. But you hear both stories all the time. You hear, I'm innocent when they're not. Or you hear, I'm innocent and they actually are. Right.
And so I'm telling them, well, we have to understand the system for protective order is a person goes in and claims, I've been abused. Sure. I need protection. They're going to grant it 9 out of 10 times simply to be safe.
Right.
And now
To err on the side of
err on the side of caution. Now, if a father went in there and claimed that abuse, they, the law says they should get the same, presumption of abuse. Now, whether that's true or not, it's up to again, they're saying, well, you're a tough guy, you can handle it. That's if that happens, that's a problem.
Yes.
But I've had plenty of fathers go into courts, claim they've been abused, and get a protective order.
Mm-hmm.
Because the law should be blind. And they're reading these things often and not meeting them. They're simply reading the stuff and it says that my spouse hit me, pushed me down the stairs, slapped me. They're going to enter protective order, whether it's true or not.
Okay.
Now the challenge comes down to is then we have courts where then we're not putting people on the stand, we're not cross-examining, and it's simply based off written word.
Right.
That's a challenge, but
sure.
That's where things become problems is when
then people will be upset about due process and sure, but I think we've covered some good things, and obviously, again, like I said, I'd like to do another interview or talk to you again because I always enjoy talking about some of the different aspects. I mean, it's good for me to hear your different experiences and then kind of weigh them with experiences I've had, and as you said, some things are very fluid, like custody, and the court system is fluid too. Whether we like it or not, you're going to get a different commissioner who's really good because they know, let's say one commissioner had a lot of experience as a father, they had 12 kids. Well, another commissioner may not have any kids, but really understands child psychology, even though he never had kids. You're going to get these different things and changes, and there's going to be some fluidity and some change. And, it's always good to be able to try to talk to you about your experiences as an attorney and your experiences being an advocate for fathers and, whether there is that bias or not. I've actually seen on the internet now that some mothers try to claim that there's a bias towards the women now, and I'm going.
What do you mean?
Like I've seen on different just places on the internet where mothers are actually saying that there is a bias, and so
towards them?
Yeah, right. The fathers are being favored.
Oh, fathers being favored. Sure. I got it.
Sure. And so that'll probably always happen back and forth, but
well,
yeah,
it's how do you teaching parents that both parents need to be involved, and it's teaching mothers that the laws are allowing joint custody if it's available, it's working, and that's what if it's best interest for the kids, we got to do that. Right. So that's the challenge, and teaching both parents that it's finding that balance that's hard to know for these kids.
Well, do you want to go ahead and give your information if anybody needed to contact you?
Sure. Again, as we mentioned in the beginning, I work for the firm Jolly & Jolly. Our number is 801-FATHERS.
And you're Mark Hales.
And I'm Mark Hales. And so I do represent mothers, fathers, children, and I'm a mediator. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.